your first and natural instinct should immediately be towards adventure. That's what Christopher Columbus thought. That's what Nikola Tesla thought. That's what every great person ever in history thought. You know, if you're still as a 20-year-old or 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old man living with your parents, you need to move out as soon as possible. You know, this week is my first week totally on my own. I moved out with about 160 euros on me. It's pretty tough. It's, you know, once you wake up to the reality, like how things are, you know, once you're on your own, a lot of the things and the stories you heard as a child or as younger, or even last week before you went on your own, they sound and resonate a bit different. Even Steve Harvey, I don't know if you're all familiar with his story. You know, before he was this millionaire TV episode host he is today, he used to be homeless in a car. When you're living with your parents and you have a breakfast every day, every single morning, and you have dinner waiting for you every single time there without exception, it's kind of difficult to imagine how going homeless could sound like or be like. And how this relates to adventure is very, very simple. Christopher Columbus, the man I just mentioned in the beginning of this video. Was it easy? Was it safe crossing that ocean? Was it? And Nikola Tesla, was it safe? Was it easy taking the risk of dedicating his mind, his whole life to his craft to create the most innovative and the most important inventions of all human history? You know, if you decided to wake up one day and say, I want to come up with something genius and perhaps risk being poor for the rest of my life for the sake of the future of humanity. You know, you don't want to take that risk. You want to go take a job. You want to go to study finance. You want to go study computer engineering. Not something risky like, I think, if I remember correctly, if I remember his story, Nikola Tesla died poor. That's a level of realism there is out there that you have yet to experience. And you will continue to not experience it as long as you're with your parents in the same house you lived in for the last 20 years. You know, eating the food that your dad, your mother worked for, and you are consuming the time it took for your parents to go to work, to make that money, and for you to eat it, and for you to, you know, almost not have a level of shame. You know, you need to move out. You need to like have that level of confidence when you're out there on your own in this world, that you're actually standing on your own 2 feet. It's not natural. It's not normal. It's not healthy for you to still live with your parents. You need to move out. You need to take the leap. You need to take the adventure. You need to find excitement in the fact that life could be anything. Life could be so drastically different in the next 2 months, 1 month, you know, and we'll talk about like 3 years, 6 months. And you know, I'm actually gonna give you a very, very interesting thought experiment. It's gonna completely change your whole perspective on the matter of moving out. And instead of feeling nerve-wracking or scary or frightening, all these horrible bad feelings or whatever, it's instead going to feel like just, you know, pure adventure. It's going to feel like the beginning of a true hero's arc movie. And the mental switch is as corny as it sounds like. Just imagine the movie The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. That Clint Eastwood motherfucker. Do you think he is nervous when he is riding his horse to the other canyons, to the other place, trying to rob the bad guys, trying to rob the bad people? No, he's out here with his 2 revolvers, with his rifle, with his trusty old horse, with his gut, with his pure perseverance, with his just sheer accuracy, his skill, his cool, riding around towns, he's riding around country, just unfazed. He's just excited about what is there to come. Perhaps he's broke, perhaps he doesn't have any money, perhaps there's times, you know, he's thinking, Is there business, in this next town I'm going into? Perhaps there is one. Perhaps there is not. Perhaps there is none. But the magic lies that he can always go to the next city. He can always go to another. The next city he goes into, the next adventure he goes into, maybe that's the one that's gonna give him $100,000. Maybe that's the one that gets him shot in the leg or whatever. Maybe he's gonna get hurt. It's just pure adventure. He fights for the sake of fighting. He explores for the sake of exploring. Are you truly living if you're in the same situation, the same job, same city for your whole life? And this is the kind of problem, that stems from living with your parents. This is probably the same home, the same neighborhood, the same city you've lived since you were a baby. This is why you're unfulfilled. This is why you're feeling so super stuck. This is why your mind hasn't moved on from problems that you have had since you were maybe a teenager. Your perspective on the world hasn't changed ever. You're still in the same city. How do you expect your life to change if you cannot change your mind, because you cannot change your perspective and your situation and your environment? Once you just make that simple change, once you change your environment and you see and experience a new whole realm of the world you're in, this whole wild wide world, your mind begins to change and your whole life begins to change. Isn't that truly what Clint Eastwood is doing? Is that not what his character is doing in those movies? Is it not? You need to move out. I have many goals. I want to keep myself occupied and excited with all sorts of different projects in the world. I'm doing this kind of vlogs. I very much want to make my first travel video in Rome, Istanbul. That sounds exciting. And subscribe, so I can make this reality happen. Thank you. And you have to have these sort of plans and visions for yourself. Once you make these kinds of small visions for yourself and you start living them up to reality, making them reality, and after this video you're gonna start imagining, okay, this is the city I'm going to live in once I move out. This is the job I'm gonna have for the next 2-3 months. Then I'm gonna change the job. I'm gonna have something else. I'm gonna move into this city. I'm gonna have this sort of life. I'm gonna do this on the side. This is what I'm gonna eat. This car is what I'm gonna drive. Have this very specific plan, this very specific vision you have for yourself. And once you start moving that direction and you see that vision come to fruition, you see the life to actually become reality, then you understand, oh, I'm manifesting this life into my life. I'm manifesting my mind into this life. So once you begin to see that happen, then you begin talking the actual dreams you have. What I was doing. I want to go to Rome and Istanbul. I'm gonna show you while I'm there. Right now, I'm here in a forest, Finnish forest. I'm gonna go to my assistant chef job in about 3 hours. I'm gonna be washing dishes. It's pretty good, very fun. I'm gonna do that for 7 hours. I'm gonna enjoy it. While I'm doing that, you're probably gonna watch this video. While I'm there, you're listening to me talk. It's a funny perspective. My point being, now I went off a little side note. My point being, you can manifest anything. You can be as simple with it as talking it into reality. A very good way still is writing a notebook, writing everything you have on a notebook. It's a very good way of doing it. The most amazing thing you can realize And the better it being, the earlier you realize it. It's just, life is nothing but adventure that is measured by risk and reward. There's no adventure if there is no risk, if there is no pain, if there is no struggle, if there is no starvation, if there is no uncertainty, if there is, some sort of degree of uncomfort to it. So whatever visions you have, whatever dreams you have, all of them are going to begin from you taking that leap forward, becoming 110% more independent. Because if you still live with your parents, you still haven't genuinely, really moved out from that phase of childhood yet. You're practically still living in your childhood, but as an adult. Once you have become physically an adult, the first step next is move out. Get punched, get insulted, get doubted by the world. The world needs to do some damage onto you, so you get calloused, so you get prepared, so you get stronger by your mind, by your soul, against the world. You need to learn to live against and with the world. And it all starts with you moving out. I appreciate it. And if you want to help me achieve this dream of going to Rome, Istanbul, I'm gonna show you everything. You're gonna support me on this journey, then like and subscribe. Do those both. And if you're a really, really, really real one, comment something. You can comment something as simple as, I want to start a chain of people telling what they want to do. Maybe just envision the city you're moving into. Envision what goals do you have? What is your purpose in life? Do you want to be a traveler? My purpose in life, as this time of life, I wanted to be traveling. But what is yours? For me, it's traveling. I want to go to Rome. I want to go to Istanbul. Those are the two cities. But what is yours? Do you want to learn to play chess and play a tournament? Win, your first chess tournament? Do you want to run your first marathon? Do you also want to travel? Where? Let's start a chain. Let's make change positive, whatever. I don't care. I care. Just kidding. Whatever. This doesn't make sense. Bye.